Ladies and gentlemen and ladies and gents. We got Luther in the background, and he's telling y'all you gotta stop to love. Ladies and gentlemen, I promise you, the subject matter and playing this song is strictly and purely coincidental. And you'll see why in a minute. You see, I just chose Stop to Love by Luther Vandross as the intro song, but what I wanted to talk about, we got a couple of things we're going to talk about, but the main topic was going to be, now that you all know that the government has been implementing that William Lynch program, because that's what it is, it's a program. And so now that you know that the government has implemented the William Lynch program and has applied it to more than just a Negro, they're applying it to everybody in every country. All you got to do is sit back, read the William Lynch letter, and then stop thinking about the Negro as being a skin color and think about the Negro as being an entity, as being the infant, as being the minor, as being the straw man. Eventually, you're going to catch on to it. You see, that's why I'm so offended. That's why that has bothered me so greatly. Is because we've all been looking for a boogeyman, and we've all been saying the same thing. Everybody's been saying the same thing. It's not a conspiracy, people. It is the system. We all refer to it as the system. The system of the Dow? No. Stop that. So, the subject is here. We know that they're trying to break up families, destroy families. That's why, pay attention. When they started applying this program to everybody, notice how divorce rates have skyrocketed. Go ahead. Everybody knows it. If you were around during the 70s, and one day you'll discover. I'm sorry. Luther Vandross, Stop to Love. You'll know during the 70s that divorces increased. They gave us every other reason for the increase of divorces, and they failed to tell us, well, this is our plan, and we're going to continue to disrupt families. What did they do? That they not give us pornography? Why would they do that? Why would the government sit up there and just bring this demoralizing stuff into our society? We all, look, prostitution has been around. It's the oldest sport in the world. Prostitution is a sport? That's right. The Blairs are on the field. Prostitution is a sport. And sometimes individuals get injured while playing the sport. So, then they introduced all kind of voyeurism, or, pay attention, fetishism. Fetishes. Then they started changing names. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, now they're going after whom? The youngest. Why? Because the William Lynch program. When I started seeing kids actively playing Grand Theft Auto in reality on the streets, taking people's cars, ladies and gentlemen, that, oh Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. See, I was going to say lordies and gentlemen, because I was going to say Lord have mercy, but I was going to say ladies and gentlemen and lordies and gentlemen. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the kids are playing Grand Theft Auto on the street, hijacking people's cars, crashing into the side of pylons and all that stuff, crashing into other cars. They're playing Grand Theft Auto. Pay attention. They're going in, the smash and grabs and all of that stuff, and using the car races and everything to break into stores. You guys do not see that's the effects of the William Lynch program. and putting them in jail, perpetuating this so-called system. You see, they need chaos. Go ahead. Go and look at the William Lynch program, because you can only call it a program. It's not a doctrine, it's not a theory, it's a program. They've instituted the program. Why? Because that keeps everybody distracted, so where you can't see what's going on behind the scenes. So my question is, those of you who are married, not the boyfriend and girlfriend stupidity, because they've taught you to think that the boyfriend and girlfriend thing is enough. Go back and look at the 50s and 60s. There was no such thing as this boyfriend girlfriend junk, this shacking up. Man, everybody and their grandmama talked about you if you sitting up there shacking up in somebody's house during the 50s and 60s. Ooh-wee. That was a stigma. During the 70s, a little bit more so, but during the 80s, they made it seem like the man who came over to live with the woman, they were doing something wrong, but it was acceptable. The man who came to live with the woman was usually the husband, but they had to keep it secret. And many husbands couldn't marry the woman because they were unemployed, and the woman needed to make some money so to take care of them kids. So a lot of children were born, quote unquote, out of wedlock. Again, William Lynch program. Many of you knew about William Lynch. You know about the letter, but you didn't really look at it to apply it to every aspect of life. Many people were applying it to a particular group of people, a particular color of people, as opposed to recognizing that they have implemented the system. Remember, it's a 3-year plan. 300-year plan, 300-year system. Well, when they applied it to everybody else, they're expecting it to last for 300 years. Everybody keep talking about the United States is getting ready to disintegrate. The United States is not about to disintegrate. Russia is not about to attack the United States unless that is the grand plan by the powers that be. You guys forget that it's a one world government? Pay attention. They're implementing the plan throughout the entire world. There's a one world government. Russia and Ukraine is a distraction. But they're just blowing things up. Yes, they're blowing things up. You see what they did to Libya? Perfectly good city. Libya was the most modern city in that region, and they blew it up. Iraq, you had Saddam Hussein, who everybody said was a tyrant, but the man took care of his people and was doing things for his country, getting together with Libya and Nigeria to work out some things. And the next thing you know, he said, we're going to start selling our oil in euros and no longer going to sell it in dollars. And next thing you know, we have a Gulf War. And then we have a Desert Storm. Oh, because he attacked Kuwait. He attacked who? Kuwait. Who in the is Kuwait? Oh, they're just a small little tiny sliver of something. But they have oil and everything. So he attacked Kuwait because of their oil. People, it had nothing to do with the oil. But who told us that? The advertising media. That's right, advertising. They were advertising news. So the advertising fake news told everybody it was over oil, and everybody started speculating it was over oil. It had nothing to do with oil, to the extent they were misleading you. You see, oil was not the issue the way they were saying it. Oil was the issue because Iraq said we could make more money selling our oil in euros than we can in the US dollar. That would have affected, pay attention, that would have affected the value of the US dollar and it being the world default currency, and they couldn't allow that. So what did they do? Bye-bye, Saddam. They brought him back to the Stone Age. But what about the dinar? 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 What about it? 2012. Oh, they're going to the dinar is going to be backed by gold, and because it's going to be backed by gold, it's going to be backed by something of substance. Really? Where is it? 10 years have gone by. Where is it? Well, they're getting ready to. You've been saying that for 10 years. Shut up. Shut up. Well, I've already invested so much money into the dinar. Well, you go, girl. Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry. Should I tell you guys it's 2:51 in the a.m.? And I want to let you guys know, those of you who are part of the mortgage program, we're getting ready to go to court. Those of you who are part of the Defrauded Homeowners of America program, we're getting ready to go to court. All of you who are part of the Pay Attention auto loan, student loan program, we're getting ready to go to court. But this is going to be a unique thing. I'll be informing you as the time goes by. I can't say too much on video because I don't want them to try to prepare for what I'm getting ready to do to these what we're getting ready to do. Okay, you will be informed. Get that out of here. Okay, you will be informed. Okie dokie. But let's get back to this marriage thing, because, you know, we started out Stop the Love. Well, that's what they're trying to do, ladies and gentlemen. They're trying to divide you. That's why the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, fiance, and what is it? Fiance? Well, I don't know how that goes. So y'all just gonna have to work it out. Well, you said it right. Doesn't matter. I don't care. Well, anyway, you see how you guys are always arguing about everything? And then you have look, they came up with the phrase make up sex. Excuse me? Make up sex. How do you make up sex? Well, we just made it up last week. You know, we didn't know what it was and we just made it up. Really? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand you're being manipulated and programmed? Pay attention. We've been saying this for years. You're being manipulated and programmed. Go ahead. All of a sudden, everything is going so perfect, and then snap, out of the blue, everything goes wrong. Doesn't it usually pay attention happen during the winter? Haven't they taught us that it's always darkest before the dawn, and during the winter, everybody is facing more problems during the winter? Look at all these people getting ready to face foreclosure. Don't know what to do. Now, hold on. Got to talk about this just for a brief second. We have many people coming into the program, and they're talking about, you know, I filed bankruptcy, and I filed this and that, and I didn't go to the meeting. Excuse me? Well, I filed bankruptcy, but I didn't go to the meeting. What do you mean you didn't go to the meeting? You just signed a contract with the bankruptcy court, and you mean to tell me you didn't follow through? You breached the contract? Uh-oh, it's raining. Ladies and gentlemen, it wasn't supposed to rain tonight. It was supposed to rain tomorrow night, Wednesday night. We're just supposed to have on and off clouds this morning, but it's raining. California, Southern California people, we're having, every other day there's a storm passing through. So anybody who claims there's a drought, I don't think they're going to be able to claim that anymore after this winter, especially when all that snow that's been accumulating in all of these mountains melts. They're going to have to do a whole lot of pumping of those rivers and lakes, okay? They're going to have to do a whole lot of pumping of the rivers and lakes. Now, if you don't believe me about the rivers and lakes, do your research. The United States BLM is dumping water out of lakes. Just type that in and see what you get. Okay? That's why Lake Mead and the other lakes look depleted. That's why they're calling it a drought. Ladies and gentlemen, go back this past year and look at the monsoonal weather and look at all the flooding they said was happening. Ask yourself a question. If there was all that flooding and all of that water usually goes towards the lake and the rivers, then how come they were still depleted? They're trying to make a crisis, people. Yes, global warming is real. And it is, pay attention, man-made. I didn't say this. They're the ones who said it. No, wait, no. Hold on. Hey, Luther. Give me 1 second. Stop, Luther. Come on, Luther. Ladies and gentlemen, I want y'all to pay attention for a second. They said global warming is man-made. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I'm repeating what they said. They said global warming is man-made. They just told you and you didn't hear them. They said we did it. Not us, you and me, but the ones who control, saying that we did this. They are putting, pay attention, nano aluminum in the atmosphere. They say it's to reflect the sun's rays. What? It's to reflect the sun's rays. Ladies and gentlemen, nano aluminum does not stay in the sky forever. Guess what happens with nano aluminum? What? You breathe it in. It gets into everything. Your water, your food products, your hair. It gets into everything. It's called a heavy metal. Man, I used to listen to heavy metal. And because it's called a heavy metal, it's getting into your systems. It's making you more sick. Go ahead. Go ahead and see. Type in Google, what are the effects of nano aluminum on the human body, on the environment? But they told you, no, we're doing it to help with the reflection of the sun's rays. Really? Is that what you're doing? What's that program called? Is it called HARP? Is it called Dartma? It's called one of them things, isn't it? Global warming is man-made. Well, the temperatures are the hottest they've ever been. Really? What are you guys, what are you doing to the environment? Ladies and gentlemen, in Arizona, they had everybody and their grandfather, pay attention, everybody and their grandfather, get rid of all their grass. Yeah, they said watering the grass was affecting their ability to provide water for the population. So they did that desert landscape. Remember that? Ain't that interesting? They claim California facing a drought. Let me let you know something. California for most of my life, and what I can tell you, especially in Southern California, we've never had to do what they had to do with Puerto Rico. Remember, Puerto Rico, during the it was 2013, 2012, 2014, and 2015. Puerto Rico was suffering the worst drought they had ever suffered. That was 3 straight years of very little rain. And so Puerto Rico literally had the people rationing water. You could only get water for so many days, then they shut it off. It's called, what did Alex Jones say that was called? Um, Man, I can't think of the word. It starts with an A. And it's like you have to survive on less. And I austeriism or something like that. I don't know what it's called, but y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. This is what they're doing. I was in Puerto Rico at that time, and I'll tell you something. Puerto Rico is a tropical area. I mean, I like Puerto Rico because during the afternoon it would rain, and then it would be sunshine. Sunshiny day, everybody's smiling. Sunshiny day, everybody's singing, so happy and gay. It's a sunshiny day. The Brady Bunch. Anyway, that was Puerto Rico. I loved it. I always wanted to live in a place where it rained and then it was sunshine and then nighttime. It was so comfortable. I'd sit out in my hammock and swing from forth to back and back to forth and be like my girl Aaliyah. Don't rock that boat, okay? But guess what? 3 years of straight drought in Puerto Rico, where very few clouds came over Puerto Rico. The same as in California. Very few clouds came over California. The largest economy in the United States, California, and it got the least amount of rain. Why? Because that was a punishment to California for almost going bankrupt. Remember that? Remember when California was getting ready to declare bankruptcy because of that overspending and all of that? And then they raised taxes and they keep raising taxes and gas prices. That's to pay for all of the corruptness in California. Shh, don't tell nobody. But that was to punish California. Now they're not punishing California anymore. They got a Democrat in office now. Yeah, no. Go back. Look at the weather pattern. Look at how it changed in November. No, roughly right about November 15th. Weather pattern completely changed. Ladies and gentlemen, we were in the single digits as far as cold. It hasn't been like that since I've been living up this way. Single digits every night in November. I mean, I was literally worried about my dogs. Dogs are outside. Worried about them. But they've been like troopers, dealing with and handling it, using their own body warmth and the blankets they have out there to keep themselves warm. They're troopers. And they handled it. Oh, let me say this again because many of you guys don't understand it. They keep talking about Death Valley and how warm it gets there, and it talks about the hottest temperature and how they get temperatures of up to 130 some degrees. We made it to 139 degrees one day here. What? Say what? No, we don't get to 139. That would have made a record. It would have been on the news. Ladies and gentlemen, I have a thermometer. I had it outside. When you hear on the news the high temperature, that's in the shade, is what they're telling you. That's done because of the people would complain if they found out how hot it really was outside. That's why people drive heat stroke, because they don't give the accurate temperature. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are in direct sunlight, it's a lot hotter than what the forecast says it is. 139 degrees Fahrenheit is what the thermometer said one day when I went out to check it because I couldn't believe how hot it was. I was scared for the dogs, even when they were puppies. All the dogs are gone, all of them. They all got homes. Bye-bye. They all got homes. Bye-bye. Loving families. They all got homes. I am so grateful to hear they all got homes. I was worried about it for a moment. And the ones that I have, especially Knucklehead. Knucklehead is a knucklehead. But Knucklehead is going to be just as big as his daddy. Literally, just as big as his daddy, because his daddy's a big boy. And they were both the runts of the litters. And so, yeah. And Max, I can't even wrestle with Max because he's got a lot of strength. And so he tires me out real quickly. Oh, real quick, so that we continue to talk about this. Those of you who worried about my health and all that stuff, please understand that for the last week and a half, I've been feeling great. Me and Tony the Tiger, we got something in common. Bobby Whitney and Bobby Whitney. Okay, got something in common. That's right, I said Bobby Whitney. What? Y'all ain't never heard of Bobby Whitney? Man, that was the power couple. Anyway, now when I say feeling, doesn't mean my shoulder doesn't still. Ooh-wee, that arthritis in the shoulder. They call it arthritis in the shoulder. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not arthritis in the shoulder. It's the cartilage in the shoulder is depleting. It's the shoulders, the hips, the ankles with muscular dystrophy. That is a side effect. This thing with the shoulder has been happening since the 90s. We first started noticing it in 1994. Didn't know what it was. I just knew that my right shoulder at certain times, man, wasn't in pain. I could just see that literally my arm would certain times jerk because there was pain, but I wasn't feeling no pain. But I now feel it. I now feel why it was doing that. If I had known, if I didn't care, if I had known, I could have taken precautions. The doctors are saying something like adding Botox. Why would I do a poison? Why would I have them inject me with a poison? As I said, go and talk to Angelina Jolie about Botox if you don't know. Angelina Jolie don't take no Botox injections. You stop that. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say? Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Okay. let's get back to the conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, now that you know that the government, that's right, these people whom everybody keeps referring to as elected officials, ladies and gentlemen, they are not elected officials. Nobody's electing these idiots into office. No, you're taking their word for it. So go ahead and notice. The Democrats had 8 years of presidency. Now remember, Ronald Reagan stayed in there for 8 years. Then they put the idiot in there for 4 years. So that's a total of, pay attention, 12 years. Then they brought the Democrats in for 8 years. Then they brought the Republicans in for 8 years. Then they brought the Democrats in for 8 years. Then they brought the Republicans in for 4 years. Then they brought the Democrats in for 4 years. We're going from the 80s until the present. Are you paying attention? You had Henry, Ford, and Carter, Democrats. Then you had Reagan, Republican. Then you had Bush, Republican. Then you had Clinton, Democrat. Then you had Bush, Republican. Oh, I'm sorry. You guys understand, Reagan didn't win the election. That was rigged. Shh, don't tell nobody. He was a half-beat actor. Come on now, you know he didn't win no election. But they sold him, and they even came up with this thing called Reaganomics. Willie Lynch program in full effect. Pay attention, people. Under Reagan, they fully implemented the William Lynch program. Go back. They called it Reaganomics. Said it was the best program ever. He was one of the greatest presidents ever. Reaganomics. I believe it. William Lynch program. Ronald Reagan. They bring Ronald Reagan in, and everything changes. Go ahead. Go back and take a look. From the 80s until now. Look at how things have changed. Because they fully implemented the program. Go back. Take a look. Remember, I want you all to understand something. It was under Reagan that they cut all of the after-school programs. Why? Because they were going after the youth. Remember, single mothers? All the single ladies. Anyway, single mothers, what were they doing? They're working. Well, you cut the after-school programs, which was there for those kids whose parents were working. You cut the after-school programs, where does that leave the kids? Well, most of the kids went out and hung out on the street. And when you hang out on the street, you got them boys that come and talk to you saying, hey, you and I today, we're going to make some cash, robbing old folks and making a dash. He did the money, and money came with ease. One couldn't stop. It's like he had a disease. He robbed another, and a sister, and a brother, and he tried to rob a man who was a DC undercover. Okay. What did you think Slick Rick was talking about when he talked about a children's story? What do y'all, you people are not paying attention. What do you think Slick Rick was talking about when he talked about a children's story? Go back, listen to the song. He's talking about the 80s, the way things were. As I told you, Ronald Reagan got rid of all the after-school programs. Why? Because you go after the youngest. Go back, look at William Lynch. They're following that program. Hey, I do a lot of talking. A whole lot of talking. Man, you talk so much, you get on my mother. Okay, so I do a whole lot of talking. But what I'm talking about now, many of you are not even going to take the time to do the research and see it for yourself. The problem is, hold on. We know that they're implementing a program. Look, it's called Television. We'll be right back with your programming after these commercial messages. You guys have heard it. You've all heard it. It's called a television broadcast. They're casting a wide net, trying to get the information to as many people as possible so that they can program as many minds as possible. Remember, a child development, the mind is a computer, and that's what the parents are there for, to program that child. Train up a child in a way that is right for him, and when he grows old, he will not turn aside from it. You see, that's what the scriptures said through Mr. Solomon under inspiration. Train up a child according to the way for him. William Lynch says, oh no, do not let that child be trained. Separate that child from the father. Let it be so that only the mother trains him, and that way he has feministic characteristics. Sorry, we got to go back to Luther. Sorry, hold on. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that's the program. Okay, whew. So we found the problem. How do we solve the problem? Well, that's the problem, ladies and gentlemen. It took decades to get here. It took decades to get here. Look, every country is having the same problem. Go ahead. Every country is having the same problem. The youth are all the same mentally. You even have those youth who are a little bit more attuned. Austerity, that's what I was talking, that's the word I was trying to remember. The austerity program, when you survive off of less. Anybody ever heard of a tiny home? When you survive off of less, and you're gonna love it, and you're gonna beg us to give you less and less and less. We want you to be conservative. We want you to cut back on everything because we're using up too many natural resources. Ladies and gentlemen, the earth is 24,000 miles circumference. 24,000 miles circumference. It is impossible for 8 billion people, and we just passed the 8 billion mark recently. It is impossible. I think we passed it about 5 years ago, but don't take my word for it. It is impossible for 8 billion people to use up all of the natural resources of the earth. But we let them tell us about global warming. We let them tell us, oh, we're using up the resources of the earth, and pretty soon it's going to be a desert planet. Ladies and gentlemen, go to YouTube, type in China converts desert to a city. They planted trees and everything. Why? Water acclimation. China's not the only one doing it. Now, they can't stop all the sandstorms, so they have to maintain it. But this thing about deserts, you have Qatar and a bunch of other places converting their deserts into habitable, arable land. So do not believe them when they say the whole planet's going to become a desert. Ladies and gentlemen, the earth is 75% water. But they are telling you that somehow all of those trillions of metric tons of water is going to disappear in less than a decade. Isn't that what the scientists say? We know they control the science. So how do we get through this? How do we work out a solution? Ladies and gentlemen, we don't. This is what the prophecy was about. Revelation, the 4th chapter. No, Revelation 11:18. Whew. Man, I'm sorry. The 4th chapter is a different thing. It's about being worthy, But 11:18, it lets us know that he's going to destroy those ruining the earth. Because they're ruining the earth because they're killing the American family. the European family, the African family, the Zimbabwean, because they're African families. All of the countries of Africa, they're killing all of the families, the unit. Remember, that's how Rome was defeated. A breakdown in the family unit. What, you didn't know? Ladies and gentlemen, Rome lasted for greater than 1,000 years as a world power, as an empire. And eventually it was the moral decay of the family unit. Because in Rome, anything went. I mean, they were having, look, you guys understand that's Rome. That's how they celebrated Christmas. Through their nativity scenes. I'm not joking. Go ahead and do your research on how Rome celebrated Christmas. It's a pagan holiday, people. So go ahead and look at how it was really celebrated. Don't talk about how you do it today with a stupid tree and ornaments. You don't even know the real reason for the tree and the symbolism of the ornaments. The tree comes from Nimrod. Nimrod. Who's Nimrod? Nimrod. You're Nimrod. Nimrod, first king documented history. A black man. Nimrod was a black man. He was a black man. He was from the tribe of Cush. He was from that tribe. Ladies and gentlemen, Nimrod. That's where the tree comes from. The woman and the baby, that's not Jesus. That's Nimrod and his mother. Oh, wait. You don't know the history? Nimrod married his mother. Nimrod was worshipped as a god. That's why she's called the mother of God. No, that's not true. Go and do your research. And when I say do your research, don't research something from one person telling you their opinion. Go and do the real research. Well, I like Christmas because it brings the family together. That's right. You're following the program because that's what they told you. Go ahead. That was the line. You saw it on TV. You heard it everywhere. That was the broadcast. That was the programming. And you're just repeating the programming. That's how the system works. I know some of you are not going to hear this because you can't. It goes against your moral fiber. You've been told not to listen to conversations like this. He's talking about religion. I ain't said a single thing about religion. I said it was a pagan celebration. Pagan practices. Pagan belief. But pagan, what's a pagan? Well, it's one of those things that you got the circle and you have the square and you try to put that square peg into that circle. That's a pagan. Okay? It simply never fits. No matter how much you pound it, it never fits. And they've been trying to make it fit. Okay? Mariah Carey and Luther singing Endless Love. All right. Some of this is going to offend some of you because pay attention, not because it offends you, but because you've been trained, you've been taught, you've been conditioned not to let anybody come and destroy that image that they've created in your head as to what the truth is. You know that there is no Santa Claus. You know it, but you teach your children that there is a Santa Claus. And then when the children finally realize there is no Santa Claus, you come up with an excuse as to why you told them there was. You say it's healthy to lie to that child. And then I ain't never taught that to my children. Because you realized there was something wrong with it. But then what do? You still celebrate the celebration. You still participate. But no, I don't. I don't participate. I don't believe in that. Really? Well, no, I don't do that one. I do just the holidays. You do just the holidays, huh? You just don't do it because you decided you don't want to call it by that name. So you're going to still do the same stuff, but you're just not going to do the same stuff. Oh, okay, that makes a lot of sense. Ladies and gentlemen, do you understand what being an accomplice is? It doesn't matter if you are not the one pulling the trigger. As long as you're participating in the festivities, you're an accomplice. I'm so glad the holiday is over so that I could talk about this without offending anybody. You think you're not offending anybody. How could I offend you? I haven't said anything about you. I've just said exactly what the reality is. How is that offensive? Uh-oh. Looks like I done lost my only 5 listeners. So I'll be talking to myself from this point forward. This is what the system has done. They put all of these distractions in front of people so that they can't see what's going on. Ladies and gentlemen, they are trying to destroy families. Go ahead. This is the William Lynch program. What's love got to do with it? Ladies and gentlemen, everybody talks about they love. Did you not know that the word love is not their word? The word love is translated from a Hebrew word. There are at least 9 different kinds of expressions of love as documented in Scripture. Why? Because the word love is the definition of God. Whoa. What'd you say? The word love is the definition of God. Jehovah. What, you didn't know? Go back and read the book of James. 1 James 4:8. He who does not love has not come to know God, because God is love. He is love. That is the definition of God, love. So when you say, I love you, and you don't know who Jehovah is, then you can't possibly love. Now look, you guys hear me say the name Jehovah, and that offends you. Yeah, it offends you because somebody taught you to be offended when somebody uses the name Jehovah. Well, that's not God's name. And you see that line right there too? Who are you to tell him what his name is? Well, he never said that was his name. Yes, he did say that was his name. The fact they took it out of the scriptures is of no consequence. Look, you go to Joel, the 2nd chapter, and you go to Acts, the 4th chapter, and what does it tell you? No, Acts, the 2nd chapter. Sorry, Joel, the 2nd chapter, Acts, the 2nd chapter. Well, what does it tell you? All those who call upon the name of Jehovah. Now go back. That was Peter who quoted Joel. And in Joel, which is the so-called Old Testament, before the birth of Jesus, it said all of those who call upon the name of